Hello and welcome to Some Dude Shed. This is where we do our true or false stories, where we basically have to try and fool each other as to whether our stories are true or are they false. So I am here. I am Mr. Grey, and I am with Mr. Red.
Hi.
And Mr. Black.
Hi. Glad to be here.
So so we each have a story, and who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I'll go first.
Alrighty, Mr.
I don't
Black.
go first all that often, so I'll go first.
I'm glad you said it.
Why are you not looking forward to your story?
No, I'm just glad you said you don't often go first, because it's true.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay, right, your turn then.
All right.
Alright, Mr. Black.
This one's called The Ballet Shoe Stew of 1842.
Right. Okay. Right, I'll take it seriously.
Okay. So this story features a ballet dancer called Marie Taglioni. This all takes place in Russia, by the way, because like the Russian ballet was a massive thing back. It still kind of is to this day. Like
Yeah.
Russia's kind of known for
Yeah, it's
their
still
ballet
like
scene.
top ballet, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't really know a whole lot about ballet. Maybe you do, Mr. Red, but I don't know if I know a whole lot about ballet.
I know absolutely nothing about ballet.
You probably, because of this story, you probably know more than us.
I probably do, actually, it's a good point. Yes. Anyway, she was basically Elvis of the ballet world in the 19th century. She spawned so many frenzied fans that would do anything to feel more connected to her. Some of her fans were so fanatical, in fact, that a small group of them, 35 of them to be exact, were involved in an extraordinary supper in 1842 when a pair of her ballet slippers were featured as the main course.
Right.
At this stage, I would like to remind people that the word fan is actually an abbreviation of fanatic. Some displays of extreme devotion include fans who turned out in droves to see Elvis's dental crown when it was made a tour in the UK in 2016. A fan sent a turtle shell to Taylor Swift with her portrait painted on it. Also a fan who sent a preserved dead baby shark in a tube to the Jonas Brothers. How many of them would consider eating their idol's footwear? A group of Marie Taglioni's admirers cooked up her ballet slippers in a stew and proceeded to eat them, the whole thing. A travel writer and commentator called Edward Tracy Turnarelli is said to have purchased the shoes for 100 Russian rubles, which is about 12,000 US dollars today. He bought them from a hotel owner who claimed the dancer left them behind in her room. Edward pulled his savings together with 35 other ballet fanatics. That would actually be 34 because he was one of them, to buy the slippers. Immediately he prepared them as a fricassee.
Fricassee.
It's like
Yeah.
a kind of like a meat stew with like a white sauce. I don't know what the sauce is, but that's what came up whenever I googled it. Which is a dish of meat that's stewed in a stock and served in a white sauce. This time around, instead of meat, they used slippers accompanied with a lot of champagne.
Well, of course. I mean, you don't eat expensive shoes without some good champagne to wash it down.
Yep.
So, the true or false is, did 35 fans of a ballerina eat her shoes?
Yes.
35 of them. Now, I know ballet shoes are kind of small, so I'm guessing they didn't eat very much each.
No, probably not.
Did they actually eat the shoe itself, or was it just there?
The slippers were the main ingredient. Instead of meat, it was
It was shoe.
slipper.
For 35 people, I think that's ridiculous. I don't think it's ridiculous that they're using the shoes. I think it's ridiculous
I'm
for
just-
35 people.
I'm just thinking, I'm trying to equate it to a modern celebrity, right? Someone who would have very, very fancy shoes and would drive people crazy. Could you imagine, who's a top like basketball player or something like that?
Kobe?
Well, he was.
Yeah, I'm sure his
So
trainers
would
still
he?
exist.
So would he have? Do you think he would have fans that were crazy enough? Would be crazy enough to eat his shoes?
No, they'd sell them.
Well, I'd say post death they would, because this was after Marie's pretty much the end of her career.
All right.
So there were collectors obviously avid to get their hands on her stuff. So I wouldn't put it past somebody out there who would be a very crazed fan of Kobe, who would want to get their hands on his sneakers.
Right.
And
Sorry, what gave them the idea to put them in a stew?
Yeah. Why not just put them on display?
because, well, it says a lot of champagne was involved.
Oh, so they decided to do it when they were drunk.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I always get that feeling this day eat some shoes when I'm drunk.
But this
Yeah.
is also during a time, I mean, there was a lot of, it was the 19th century in Russia, so there was a lot of like,
The wealthy were very, very wealthy, and they had a lot of vodka.
yeah, but it was like, I was going to say, like, esotericism and all was really big at that time. And, like, sort of, we call it was like magical practitioners and like all that kind of stuff. You know, the occult was a big thing then. And,
Right. Okay.
you
I've
know,
got. There's another hole I think in your story that I would like to poke. What was her name again? It's Marie Tagliani. Did
Marie Taglione.
Taglioni.
Yep.
Okay, and what was the guy called?
Edward. He was a reporter. No, he's a writer and commentator. Edward Tracy Turnerelli.
Tracy Turnerelli.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, from the names, they sound kind of Italian. How did they get to Russia?
Because that's where the ballet scene was.
Okay.
That's where like they were pretty much revered in Russia. Because the ballet is a massive thing over there.
They weren't all just homegrown talents. Then they would have.
People would have traveled. You know, they could have went on. You know, ballerinas on tour. They went like many of them traveled to Russia because that's where like all the big. It's like the opera house in Sydney. That, you know, one stage was like the big thing for opera singers. Probably still is. I don't really know much about opera, but the Russian ballet is like the top tier ballet scene.
Right. Okay. That actually kind of makes sense. If it's recognized as the best in the world, I can imagine it.
It's like Hollywood for actors, and you know, Carnegie Hall for whatever, you know.
Which then makes me think, Mr. Red, do you think Mr. Black, if he was coming up with this story himself, do you think he would have used Italian names for the Russian ballet?
No.
Or maybe I'm just so smart that I decided to do that.
I'm using my extremely tight skills of deduction. I'm going to say that this is true.
I'm going to say this is an urban legend
All right.
that he's found. And so I'm going to say it's false. But
I kind of do want to mention, I'm assuming that she is Italian and she did travel over. I'm going to admit that I'm assuming. So should I just look up now to make sure she kind of did travel over there?
Oh, no, you can't do that. I mean, we're not allowed to Google things. I don't
well, if you're about to
think
look
you-
something up, it means that the details you have found somewhere, you haven't just made this up yourself. So it's teetering on. There's an article about this that does exist. But whether that article is true or false, or it's just an urban legend, I'm going to go with this as a legend. I'm going to go as false.
I'm going to say true. I can believe the characters are real.
I just want to say though, 35 people eating a slipper.
2 slippers.
2 slippers. I can actually believe, because there's always one. There's always one. When you think of anything that's just weird, there's always one. But 35, I can believe that too in the number, but I just don't believe that 35 people could get enough to eat out of 2 slippers.
Well, it could take any form. Like maybe he went into the kitchen and just dipped them in and let them sort of simmer for a bit and then took them out. Or maybe, because the story is that they ate, so that wouldn't count then.
What year was this? Or what time period was it?
1842. So this was like, she pretty much...
Was this round about the start of the tabloids?
Well, probably not in Russia, but
Doesn't have to be in Russian. If it's the
tabloids would have been around, yeah, at least in Britain, definitely.
If it's the Russian ballet, it's world famous. So
I suppose.
it could be just a sensationalized story to sell some newspapers, which has turned into a bit of a legend, I would say. No, I'm gonna go. It's a made up story or a legend or something. So I'm gonna go. It's false, but there's a story out there about it.
I'm sticking with my true judgment, Mr. Black. Mr. Black, is it a true story?
I'm gonna say it's unverified.
You can't do
Oh,
that.
No, it's not proven to be true, so I can't say it's true. It like he said, it's an urban legend, so he pretty much nailed it.
Well, I guess point to you then, Mr. Red.
Yeah, it's a point to him. It's not true. It's like, you know, people have debunked it, saying that.
Well, how do you feed 35 people on slippers?
Well, that's the thing.
Cut 'em up small,
People are
obviously.
saying it's a pair of her what they call point with an e in the end. Point shoes, which are the shoes that ballerinas wear that have like the hard top on the end.
Yeah,
So they can stand up on their
Yeah,
tip toes.
but supposedly she only used like pure just wraps. She didn't actually have the point shoes.
Right.
She was hardcore.
Hardcore, yeah. So
The bones in her feet must have been very.
She must have been tortured.
yep. In 1837, Taglioni left the ballet of Her Majesty's Theatre to take up a 3-year contract in St. Petersburg with the Imperial Ballet. It was in Russia after her last performance in this century, 1842, and at the height of the cult of the ballerina, so it's called, that a pair of her point shoes were sold for 200 rubles, reportedly to be cooked, served, and with a sauce and eaten by a group of ballet maniacs. I want to actually make sure. Swedish-born ballet dancer. of Italian descent. So yeah, there you go.
All right then. Well, that was interesting. The world
So
of
it's a
ballet.
famous Russian urban legend, but it's nothing more really than a fairy tale. They've never actually been able to prove that it did happen.
Go me.
All right. Well, Mr. Ed, do you want to go next?
No, I'll go last. Mine's really short.
All right then. Well, mine isn't so much a story as it is about the history of medicine and one particular practice. Now, in the 18th century, so 1700s, there was a lot of thought around a lot of problems being caused by like bad guts, indigestion, and constipation, that sort of thing. So the enema became very popular. So for anyone who is unaware of the medical term of enema, it's the process of forcibly cleaning out your large intestine by water being
How do they get on
pumped
there again?
up your bum. But the what I want to talk about is a certain kit that was sold for a tobacco smoke enema. You can imagine it's for smoke to be pumped up your arse.
How does it clean your
Well, I'm
your
not
intestines?
I'm not entirely sure it does, to be honest. But
You blowing smoke out your ass? Is that what you're doing here?
this is well. So the practice actually started in America, like many centuries ago. The Native Americans, they were very fond of tobacco, as you may know. So the practice started in America many centuries ago. The Native Americans were very fond of their tobacco and smoking it, and obviously they just thought they'd apply it in different ways. And eventually, in 17 something, 17.
Just imagine in the Indian circle, running buffalo, flying eagle, smoky hole.
So yeah, basically, at some point the British caught wind of this, and they, thinking, okay, well they might know something about medicine. So it was originally used used for people who had nearly drowned. So the idea was that you shove the hot smoke up the bum, and it'll not only will it warm you up, but it'll also instigate breathing as well. There are no records as to whether this worked, but it was used. Now the kit that was sold for this type of enema included a pair of bellows. Right, so you know what bellows are? They're basically like the accordion things with a hole in the end.
Yeah, they were used in blacksmithing.
Yeah, basically. They were used for bellows, and the bellows worked very well. But before that, including the Native American way of doing things, involved a big tube, which they'd smoke. They'd smoke their smoke, and then they'd blow through the tube up the arse to fill up the intestines with smoke. This is actually quite dangerous because if they
Really?
if they inhaled instead of exhaled, then there could be some problems.
Ugh.
Do you think this is where the origin of prolapse came from?
Well, but the practice of this stopped in England in 1811 when a scientist discovered that nicotine was toxic to the heart. So he decided it was not a good idea to prescribe tobacco smoke enemas anymore.
Wow.
So there you go. And for quite a while after that, though, the kits for the smoke enemas were available in second-hand shops for quite a long time. So
lightly used.
Lightly used. I'm not sure I would ever want to.
If you put your lips on the wrong end.
Oh, no, that would be awful. So there you go. That's the smoke enema.
So we're saying, what's true or false here? Did they blow smoke up people's ass?
Basically, did the British take a concept from Native America of blowing smoke up people's asses as a medical practice?
Well, to be honest, I can't even imagine like Native Americans being that stupid to try something like that. But the British do love their wacky inventions.
Well, Native Americans have done some interesting things, though, like ritualistic things. I don't know those stories, but like ayahuasca and all that, like that's mainly true. No, I think they are known for doing that. Like some Native American tribes, like they give you this drink, here, drink this, and you'll have a spiritual journey.
Yeah, but did they literally blow smoke up each other's arses?
If they did that, they probably did. Like there's also a thing called the sun dance, which is, well, this is how I was taught it in school. We weren't taught how to do the sun dance. We just told how they did it. Basically, you attached you put like hooks through your nipples, and you attach these hooks onto ropes, and then you hung the ropes on a pole or a branch or a tree or something, and you basically swung from your nipples, and they call that the sun dance. No, that's what they taught me in school. I don't know if that's true or not.
Doesn't sound like a very good dance.
No.
But if they did that, then that smoke thing's not too crazy.
Well, they are known for sending smoke signals, but there's a difference between sending smoke signals and blowing smoke up each other's arses. But how, like, what did they use to get the smoke up there? Sorry,
tube. Well, I imagine it was like a natural pipe or something. I mean, they had pipes. They had musical instruments. You can make a musical instrument. If you can make a flute, you can make an enema tube.
Well, I wouldn't want to pick up that musical instrument afterwards.
No.
This tastes like shit.
It's a bit nutty. So the true or false is British people got this from Native Americans.
Yes, British people got smoke enemas from Native Americans.
I feel like this is a trick.
I feel like this is a trick. I feel like this was instructions somebody got when they were meeting Native Americans. I misunderstood what they were saying.
So do you think it was the Native Americans pulling a prank? You're just saying...
No, not even.
Saying, oh, that's a nice cigar you've got there. Oh, yeah, we blow the smoke up each other's asses when we have a headache. It'll be
stupid white man.
not even that. Not even a prank. I just a bit of miscommunication in the translation. It's like, this is how we blow smoke signals, and the Englishman's was like, oh, you blow smoke up each other's asses.
Yeah.
Just so, like, I mean, are we on the same side here? Like, so Mr. Gray is telling the story. Are we on the same side, or are we like trying to just win for ourselves? Get it right.
Well, no, we both interrogate him based on a story, and then we can come to our own conclusions.
You see, I think it's a trick because I heard this before on a particular television program.
Yeah, I don't believe this. And I think it's something to...
No. Apparently the story goes, well, from what I heard, was they had these big long tubes along the River Thames, and there was one person who had drowned, and someone came with a tube and stuck it up the drowned person's bum and blew air up their bum. I don't know if smoke was involved, but they blew air up their bum with the tube, and this person happened to come back to life. And so they had like tubes along the River Thames for a little while. And then,
instead of the life rings, they just had tubes.
I don't know if they had life rings back then. But yeah, they had like these bum tubes up the River Thames.
So you suggesting Mr. Gray's heard of the bum tubes in the River Thames?
Yeah, Thames? I don't know if this came from Native Americans. So I heard it was like a chance, just like a pure chance thing. Some guy stuck this tube up a guy's bum.
So you're saying it's false. You're saying there wasn't an enema kit, and it wasn't derived from Native American. Native Americans.
I really don't know, because it's half true. I just don't know if it's fully true what you're saying.
I think this is a story of a time gone past, of a misunderstanding.
You know what?
And you're trying to trick us.
No, I think they definitely did have this along the River Thames, but whether it came from Native Americans, I don't know if it's true. But the fact you brought up, they brought it to London.
They didn't mention anything about the River Thames.
Yeah,
talking about the kits.
You could have read it. Well, you could have read about this and then just decided to add the Native American part of it.
Yeah, but they had these along the River Thames. Yes, true. I'm going to say true. Because as you said, if it happened in America, it's probably true.
Yes, but these are the Native Americans we're talking about.
Yeah, but they hung from their nipples and had a dance. That's what I was told in school. I was told this in school by the teacher.
I think this is a story of a misunderstanding.
You're saying false?
I'll say true.
So, are we saying Native Americans did this, or are we?
Right, what's
if
the
it's-
what's the actual statement? So what's the true or false statement here? So true or false?
That British people made an enema kit for blowing smoke up people's asses, and the idea was basically inspired by Native American practices.
So, are we saying it's true that they made an enema kit based on what Native Americans did?
Yes.
So, I could be saying it's true by saying they misunderstood what the Native Americans meant and created the kit. So, it would be true based on that.
I suppose.
Or this is a legend or a story that was made up and it's false.
You gotta
Oh,
say
what
urban
if
legend.
the guy that did it came back from America? He was like, "Where do you see this, guys? I learned this over in India. Blew the smoke up the guy's arse.
Wrong type of Indians.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he thought it was India when he landed there, wasn't it? Columbus, as the story goes. But yeah, blew the smoke up the guy's arse. See, the Native Americans taught me that, and the guy had to come back to life, and that's why they had the bum tubes up the River Thames.
But Columbus wasn't English and he didn't land in North America. Where
We're talking 1774. So that was it was quite a long time after Columbus. America was definitely a thing.
Oh no, I thought the story. I was probably taught all the wrong shit in school. I thought the story was a guy sailed over there. It was Columbus.
Columbus was pretty much medieval. He came
was-
from 14 something.
Was he not looking for India? And
Yeah,
he
he was
landed in
looking for
North
India.
America.
He was
He-
trying to
he
prove the
didn't
Earth
land
was
in North-
round. He
he-
thought he was going to land in India.
yeah, but he didn't land in North America. He landed in a chain of islands.
It was like Cuba or something.
Yeah.
But he went to North America and he found the Native Americans, but he called them Indians.
Did he ever actually go to North America?
Well, if you count the Caribbean as North America,
But see, Indians today call themselves Indians sometimes. Like,
yeah, that's confusing.
if
I-
you happen to be Native American and you're listening to this podcast, can you please let us know what the crack is?
Also,
Did
if,
you use bum tubes? Or-
also, if you're from India, please let us know if you'd like us to call you Native Indians instead, because that might be even more confusing for everybody.
if we had like a Native American on the podcast, it'd be amazing. You could tell us all
I
about
don't
his
think
ways.
I don't think there are very many of them in sunny Northern Ireland.
You'd never know.
They could induct us into their tribe as honorary tribe members.
Well, anyway, back to the point. So, true or false?
True.
guys?
I'm gonna say true.
I'm gonna say false. Because this is a story.
Well,
It's-
I can tell you guys, it is true.
What?
It is true. They actually were selling smoke enema kits based on Native American practices. Here's a picture of an enema kit.
Please tell me it was at least a misunderstanding of the Native American practices.
Nope, they actually did.
Oh, okay.
So
So,
this,
well,
hold on, Native Americans used that, or that was
Oh
made
no,
over
no,
here?
that was made in Britain. The Native Americans used a tube and a cigar.
You see, that's amazing because
No, I say Native Americans. I'm just going to say not all Native Americans. Native America's gigantic.
Yes, there's
Before-
many tribes.
Before there was modern transport and everything, all these tribes are different, very, very separate, very distinct from each other. So probably only one group was blowing smoke up each other's asses, thinking it was medically sound.
Well, something tells me that group didn't get very far.
do you think it's amazing how humans just have a fascination putting things up their bums?
It's,
Like, if I've heard of a coffee enema, people put coffee up their asses because it clears out better. Apparently, I've heard that.
it's worth a try.
I don't know if I want to try that. I prefer going down just the normal way.
Prefer the normal enema.
Yeah, with the the mouth. But saying that though, what?
Oh, never mind. Mr. Red, please steer us away from this conversation.
Well, no. You see, the thing is, though, there is some scientific basis because recently, this was during COVID. Well, we're still in COVID times, but scientists. This made the news as well. Scientists had worked out a way to provide an oxygen supply through your bum as an alternative way of, because they were running low on ventilators and they were looking for another way of, providing oxygen to the body. And apparently your colon can actually absorb oxygen whenever they pump oxygen into your gut.
Not as a substitute for breathing, though. It's not like they send divers down with just an oxygen tube attached to their bum.
I've never seen it, but
I'm going to assume this is some way of increasing oxygen levels in your blood.
yeah. Well, you'll see suppositories work, like a tablet you stick up your ass and then it works. Like you get some painkiller suppositories and, so it is a thing. But I don't know how effective it is. Probably just as like, you have a mask on, you're giving you oxygen, but it's still not enough. So, okay, we're going to have to give them the bum tube and give more oxygen. And this scientist had said this. I don't know what's going to come into practice. So there you go.
Moving on.
Don't stick tubes up your ass as well. Just want to say that. Don't stick,
Yes, this is not medical advice.
don't blow smoke up your ass. Don't blow oxygen up your ass. Don't put anything up your ass that's not meant to.
Thank you for that PSA, Mr. Black. Oh, jeez. Moving on.
Right. My true or false is set. Well, it's not set. It's
World War II. World War One.
No.
Vietnam.
No.
Korean War.
No.
No. So Vietnam. Space Wars. I don't know.
It was an idea dreamt up during the Cold War.
Oh,
Oh, lovely.
is this the fucking fake toenail
Well,
radio?
It is to do with our old friends, the CIA.
Oh yes,
Oh,
here we
yeah.
go. it's gonna be some sort of animal that's been butchered up. They stuck like a telescope in its arse or something.
Well, do you remember the story I was telling you about the fake toe under the escape kit?
Oh, yeah.
And the fake scrotum as well. Was that
I'm-
CIA?
That was the CIA as well.
Oh yes.
Well, what else do you think the CIA could come up with that you could hide stuff on you?
Probably a fake nose. Get somebody with a really small nose and then give them a fake big nose.
The bald cap. Was that them?
No. You could describe this as a suppository for freedom.
Oh, God.
Oh no! Is this like an ass cyanide capsule?
This is the rectal toolkit.
The rectal toolkit?
Right, okay.
So it was a tube
Bum tube again?
that literally looked. The only way I can describe it is basically looked like a pill.
Right.
And so it separated two sides, and then it had a kit in the middle of it with a variety of tools. You had your nail file, you had your lockpick,
So it was like
Yeah.
a Kinder egg that you stuck up your ass and it had a toolkit in it?
you had a wee chipping tool if you wanted to dig a wee tunnel. So if you
Wow.
were captured, you would have this toolkit shoved up your bum, and whenever the opportunity presented itself, you could use the tools to, I don't know, pick a lock to get out of a cell, or dig a small tunnel, or
Right.
I don't know, grind some bars away with the file.
Okay. How long were they expecting?
I
someone-
thought you were about to ask me how long was the tube.
How long were they expecting people to be on a mission? Because any more than, say, 5 hours, and then you're approaching time when that's
Well-
just going to come out, isn't it?
Well, it wouldn't even be that. Say you're, I don't know, in East Berlin, or you're in Cuba or something, and you're in a safe house. And what's that? There's a series of jeeps and trucks have pulled up. Oh no, it's the secret police. Just slap some lube on the erectile toolkit and get it right up there, just before they burst in the door.
Where do you get the lube from?
I don't know. Maybe they provide the rectal toolkit with
I just-
some complimentary lube.
Put some water in there, I guess.
Well, no, they might provide some YK jelly with the
You get
kit.
some butter or something.
Butter.
No, but they might provide a tube of lube with the kit.
That's possible, I guess.
You were supposed to save us from these ass stories.
You
You brought us full circle again.
Expecting more.
I don't know.
Well,
So the
What? Sorry.
no, it's just you go ahead. Go ahead.
Basically, is it true that there was a rectal toolkit that their agents could put in their rectums
okay.
in order to save themselves from being imprisoned?
was
Sure.
it? So,
Or am I just blowing smoke up your asses?
Yeah, true. It's true.
So, was it ever used by a spy? Did a spy ever have one?
Yes.
Of the spy?
Yes.
Okay, so it was used.
So it's true.
Okay. How did it? How was it useful? Did it actually come in handy in prison?
Well, I don't know if those files are declassified, but yes, they were issued to CIA operatives in the field.
So they actually were issued. Okay.
It's not as crazy as like the
No, it's
fake
not
ball bag.
that crazy because this is something that everybody could hide.
Well, you can hide it, but you're going to jail. What do they do when you go to jail?
Strip search you.
And where do the fingers go?
Uh-huh.
If you drop the soap, then you're.
It might pop out.
Yeah.
True. I'm gonna say true.
This isn't as silly as the fake toe or the fake ball bag.
And it was the radio ball bag, wasn't it? It was
The
like, had a
radio ball bag.
And the radio ball bag was real.
The radio ball bag was real, so I'm going to say true.
Or the radio cat.
And
This
the
is-
radio cut.
This isn't very stupid. I'm going to say true.
These are like the worst Bond gadgets ever.
That'd be funny if James Bond was
Goes
just
to Q and he's like, "Hello, Bond. You've got your
cut your face.
ass toolkit." There's this nicotine smoke enema in case you drown.
So you're both saying the rectal toolkit is real.
He goes in with a radio ball bag as well. And he's got a fake toe on him.
He's putting
He's all these fake parts on him.
he's putting Inspector Gadget to shame.
Go Gadget anal toolkit. Okay.
And here's your companion for this mission, Bond. It's a cat with a radio on it or something.
That's
Right.
the Native American guy that issued the smoke enema.
I'm gonna say true.
So both of you are saying true to the rectal
I
toolkit.
say true.
Well, I can confirm that yes, it is indeed true.
Because it's the CIA, of course it's going to be true.
I just thought, nah, it's just after the story of the ball bag and the toe a while back now. I thought you might just think that's too sensible for the CIA.
CIA is like a capsule inserted anally. That's what CIA stands for.
And look at the size of this thing.
Oh my goodness, that's huge.
Yes,
It's like a Kinder Egg, is it?
it's nearly the length of a modern iPhone.
I'd
It's
say
fucking huge.
it'd be like, for those who can't see it, it's basically like 3 fingers wide, is how I say that. It's like 3 fingers.
No, it's longer than that.
Oh, it's a width I'm talking about.
Yes, I would still say it's longer than
Oh,
that.
it's pretty long.
Well, people take more than that these days. So.
I'd say it's between 4 to 5 inches.
I'd say it could even be as.
And I'm going
Oh.
to it's made of metal, so I'm going to imagine it was very cold.
Ooh. Your face says it all, Mr. Black.
And so you're expected to go on mission with this up your arse then?
Oh, no, you have it in your pocket, and then if things go tits up, then you shove it up your ass quickly, I guess. Well, I think we'll call that a day, shall we?
Yes,
Um,
enough about the rear.
So if any of our listeners have shoved anything up their asses recently, which is interesting, please let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Please don't shove toolkits up your ass.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
See you later.